Greetings, everyone. Aziza Kabibi here. It's funny because I can't even tell what is. Okay, here we go. There we go. Greetings, everyone. Aziza Kabibi here, founder of Precious Little Ladies Incorporated, a nonprofit organization that seeks to combat child molestation, domestic violence, sexual assault, and incestuous abuse by strengthening the bond between mothers and daughters. And welcome to our second annual It's Okay to Tell Day. We usually, because of COVID-19, our events and everything has been put on hold, but that does not mean that we cannot continue to celebrate and encourage, inspire, educate, and motivate virtually. You know, we're sending that energy out, we're still putting out information, and this day, every March 16th, we are using today to encourage parents and caregivers give this opportunity to their children to tell them anything that's going on in their lives without the fear of being punished, being labeled a tattletale, and not suffering any kind of repercussions, so that children feel safe and they are encouraged to communicate if, God forbid, they are being abused in some way by someone else. So this year was a little different from our previous years. We was able to bring in parents from all across the country to participate in giving advice, giving tips, things that they do, suggestions that hopefully other parents can use in opening up communication with their children, and share them with us. And in return, we will select 8 recipients to receive a Amazon Kids Fire tablet to help also support what we're going through now, which would be a lot of remote learning. There's still a lot of remote learning going across the country due to the pandemic, and we just want to help support by providing some tools to those who need it. So that is what we did and what we are going to do here today for It's Okay to Tell Day, in announcing I don't think we have enough time to announce everybody because it is 8 families we chose, but to announce some of them, I'm going to share the tips, tricks, advice that families have given with you watching here today. And along with me is a friend of mine. We met when I spoke at her event at Keene University. She is a professor. Her name is Dr. Rodriguez, and she is a professor at Keene University. She also works in East Orange, New Jersey, at Campus High School as a social worker, and she specialized particularly in international social work and school social work. So I'm going to bring her in right now so we can get reading this stuff. And then later I'm going to drag, you saw a little peek of him, drag my my very first, well, I don't know if he was my very first because my daughters were first, but Uriel Jones has been a part of Precious Little Ladies since he was like little, like 4 years old. He was helping to pass out flyers at events and telling people, and I would hear him online talking to kids saying that's abuse if they were, messing with their siblings. So he's going to come in and share with us what his experience was like on our very first It's Okay to Tell Day. So I'm looking forward to that. And on that note, let's bring in, hello, Dr. Rodriguez. How are you?
Calling yourself. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. As we was talking behind the scenes, it was kind of last minute, but I'm really glad that you was able to just heed the call, and you always have. So everyone, Dr. Rodriguez, she also participated in our awareness raising kite fight
Mhm.
that we had in 2019. And I was so bummed when we couldn't have it in 2020, but it is what it is. We're going to plan for something else, allowing social distancing or having social distancing, keeping that in mind. So we will definitely do that. But Dr. Rodriguez, tell us a little bit about what you do, particularly with young children, or young children and teenagers, because you work at the high school, right?
Yes, I work primarily with the special needs population.
Okay.
So it can be anywhere from crisis intervention to conducting supportive groups on communication, responsibility. It's a whole host respect. We also engage in the anti-bullying campaigns.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, great. Thank you. So your knowledge and expertise is definitely works right and well, goes hand in hand with what we do with PLL. And I'm really glad that you have been a part of some of the things that we've done in the
Thank
past.
you. So
So
something
let's
else,
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry to cut you off. Something else that I love is that it's not only for the students. I incorporate the family members, the guardians, the parents, because it's important for them to know, for them to be educated also.
Right, exactly. And I mean that's what it's a holistic. It's about
Yes,
taking a holistic viewpoint and putting holistic practices into place that includes everything. That's
yes,
why even with PLL, like we're pretty active on social media, and especially since the pandemic, media in general has been really instrumental in just reaching out and giving information. So so that just speaks to your point. But time is ticking, everyone. So we're going to get right into some of our recipients, some of our participants. So the parameters was for you to have the opportunity to receive a tablet was to answer a question. And the question was to write a short essay answering the question, how can parents and their children maintain open communication between each other and reassure their children that it's okay to tell? So we encourage the parents to get their children involved, which would then start the conversation. I mean, we
Mhm.
really hope that we can go beyond just a day. We want to make it a month and then eventually build up things like this as just normal everyday interaction. So Denise from right here in New Jersey focused on building confidence. Hold on one second. Where am I? Now it's this technology. So, building confidence in your children. She says, as a person who suffered a traumatic experience as a child, I always try my best to have good communication with my daughters. And before I continue, I want to let everyone know that all of our participants had the option to share. They could share openly. They knew that we was going to be sharing their information publicly. I mean, their suggestions publicly. So even with out of respect of her being a survivor, we do have her permission to share her story. Okay. I let them know that they can come to me and let me know of any issues they are experiencing. I tell them that no matter what, I will not judge them. I reassure them that I am their mother and I will always look out for them. I've spoken to them and told them that if they feel that anyone is making them uncomfortable, to always tell me. They know that they are to be respected. I have told them that it is okay to tell because no matter what the issue may be or who the issue is with, I will always believe them and I will always be there for them. I am a mother first, and it is my job to always look out for my children. So, Dr. Rodriguez, I mean, aside from the fact, I do feel like, and maybe you've experienced this, I do feel like parents who have experienced sexual abuse are a little more, gung ho about warning and protecting their children. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, yes, they can be, or it can be the complete opposite. They will allow it to happen,
Wow, that's something.
which is an area that is very sensitive,
Yeah.
especially to the client, especially to the person who's experiencing now, even if their parent experienced it. I love this parent that she says that she tells her daughter, even if they feel uncomfortable. So it doesn't have to be the actual touching.
Mm-hmm.
it could be the feeling of feeling uncomfortable, because then it'll open the communication lines to, so what made you feel uncomfortable? What was it? Was it a look, or was it something that was said, or was it the body language, so that's really, really, really important.
Right, I agree. And parents need to recognize that children are extremely receptive. They're extremely receptive to adults, I think. And I know, like, for me, my background is Southern on my father's side and West Indian on my mom's side. And as children, we was always, you're pushed to hug the aunt or uncle or to greet out of respect. But when it comes down to it, if you want to really establish in your child and give he or she that confidence and that agency over her own body, then I don't agree with forcing a child to hug or kiss anyone, if they really don't want to.
And it's funny because in the school setting, I get students that want to hug me. But I've been teaching our female students, remember, your body parts are in the front. You do a side hug.
What do they call that? The church hug?
I tell them because, we're all in different shapes and sizes. Some are curvier than others and voluptuous than others. And you never know what the other person that's hugging may feel, may think, what's going through their mind. So it's just, let's do a side hug, or let's do a pound. You can stay there, I'll stay here.
Right. And I mean, now with the pandemic, it's like we bump it anyway. We're giving a fist bump. Okay, so the next participant, the next contributor, her name or his name is Ayodihe. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but the suggestion is building a relationship that will make your kids your best friend and also make them have confidence and trust in you. Also, don't be busy to hear them out. Don't be too busy to hear them out whenever they have something to share with you. Now, I know there's a lot of parents who don't agree with that best friend, right? You're a parent. You're not supposed to be your child's friend. What do you think about that?
So I know when I first heard it, I was like, because it's a sensitive topic. So you don't want them to feel that they're coming to you as a best friend. You want them to feel that they're coming to you and you're going to be that parent to protect them, their protector. You're going to help them get away from the situation, and you're going to rectify whatever means necessary. I do love the part when this participant said, don't be too busy, because it's not in the words, it's in what you're doing. So if you're cooking, then allow them to cook with you while they're talking to you. If you're reading, stop reading whatever you're reading. If you're on the phone, stop doing whatever it is on the phone that you're doing so you can listen to your child.
Right. And I agree. And honestly, I mean, as a parent and as a young parent, I had my first child at 16. I think that, I can get distracted. And if I'm focused, but then when it's like with Uriel, I used to call him Stewie from Family Guy because he was like, mommy, mom. But then I noticed that, you know what? I have to stop, put whatever it is that I'm doing now to listen to your child. So I agree with that part. It is important to give your children the undivided attention, because you never know, like, what is it for the moment that they are trying to say, and then being ignored is discouraging. Now, as far as the friend part, I get it, right? And I believe that people have different approaches. My children are my best friends. But at the same time, and I mean, considering the circumstances, I kind of couldn't avoid the whole brother sister, that kind of dynamic. Like, I had to acknowledge that. But they still know that I'm mommy, even though with my son, my oldest son, it could be kind of challenging. But so I do think that really is unique. It's a subjective.
It is subjective. Yeah, it could be, it could be the way that the participant wrote it. because sometimes best friends do have that open communication where they're able to speak to each other versus a parent and a child. So if I take it in that context, then okay, I get it, but I think it's important that we do listen to our children.
Yeah.
And when we listen, we're listening wholeheartedly. We're not busy Googling something or doing something on the cell phone and not really paying attention to what they're saying, because body language is key.
Right. Exactly.
It can be discouraging.
Exactly. Okay. So Tanya, she says that I tell my child. Okay. For Tanya, she says, I tell my child I will believe anything he says, and I'm mama. He can tell me everything. I show him videos on how to communicate and to draw if it's easier than talking. Now, I really liked this suggestion because there are many forms of communication, not just talking. And I think for parents, they have to be more receptive, because a child may be communicating that something is going on through body language, and then if you want to sit down with your child to open up communication, I think coloring, drawing, reading together is a great idea. And even go ahead.
I say, of course. Depending on their age, coloring, drawing, they will, younger children, even older children, they will express themselves through their artistic talents. Artistic talents, because it could be drawing, it could be poetry, it can be creating a song, a rap song, a lyric, so many different forms. But I think it's important for us as adults to listen to the message that they're trying to give to us. But also when they're drawing, if like this participant says that she's using drawing, it also opens up communication, because if they're drawing together or coloring together, they're going to be speaking to each other.
Right, exactly.
It's important. It's funny because a tool I use to get students to talk to me is I play Uno cards. And as we're playing Uno cards, next thing you know, they start talking. One of the strategies I do use is that as a group, if I'm using Uno cards, I will put certain feelings on, I will tape it to the card. And whoever has it, okay, tell me a time when you felt this way.
Right.
And that allows them to communicate, and it's a comfortable space. It's a safe space. So you're able to speak on, that feeling, or they're able to speak on what's in their minds and what's happened.
Right. That's a great idea. I mean, I think there are some things that we tend to do, or I do with my family. We have the game night, and it does open up conversation, right? My cousin will come over, we'll play spades, and it does open up conversation. But to, be aware that this is actually what you're doing would definitely be more effective. So I like that idea. A lot.
And they feel comfortable because they know it's a safe space. They know that it's not that you're going to judge them. It's not that you put them down. It's not that you're going to call them names. You're going to accept their authentic self.
Right.
And you're going to be genuine with them. And that's the important part.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to read two more, but we're going to deviate that for a minute. I'm going to play a short video, and we're going to bring Uriel in, and he's going to help us. So I'm just going to play this short video while we explaining why we do It's Okay to Tell Day, and then we will come right back in. It's only a minute, y'all, so
Reports say that 1 in 4 girls are molested before they turn 18. But in reality, those statistics are only based on what has been reported to authorities, which estimates to be only 12% of actual incidents. Because of the shame and guilt sexual abuse causes in victims, combined with the negativity associated to tattling, children are likely not to report being abused. They fear getting in trouble or even feel responsible for what happened to them. A child is then more likely to keep the secret, and the abuse continues. March 16th is It's Okay to Tell Day, and a day that parents can use as a tool to encourage open conversation with their children. The month of March, It's Okay to Tell Month, is a time to encourage survivors to speak out unashamed. Let's teach the world that it's okay to tell. For more information on Precious Little Ladies, call 1-877-TEL-PLL, and remember, you are not alone.
All right, and we're back. This is Uriel. He's hiding. He's 13 now, but he's there. Let me see if I could get a better. There we go. No. Now, there are some things I do think that you should just make your kids do. Like building his confidence. I know I was talking to my eldest yesterday, and she's involved in the organization as well. And she was like, well, mommy, I don't like talking to people. And I'm like, you have to get over that fear, So yeah, this is him. So everyone, this is my son, Uriel. He is my youngest son. He was literally raised up in PLL. Like, as I said before, he was helping to pass out flyers, and he knew some statistics. I don't know if he remembers them now because his brain is so filled with FortNite, but it is what it is. So Uriel.
Hi.
What was your first experience with It's Okay to Tell Day? When I told you, like, look, you can tell me anything and you will not get in trouble.
Oh, I thought it was pretty cool. Though, because there was a lot of on the first It's Okay to Tell Day, there was a lot of things I needed to talk about that I would get in trouble for usually, but so since It's Okay to Tell Day came, I was able to tell you a lot of things.
And how did that make you feel afterwards, though?
Oh, it made me feel relieved.
It was relieved. Now, I had to prepare myself as a parent. I had to prepare myself because I didn't know what was gonna come out of his mouth. I didn't know what was going to come out of his mouth. So when I first told you the idea, how did you feel about the idea?
Oh, the idea! I thought the idea was cool. It was a way for me to be open with my feelings to you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, say hi to Dr. Rodriguez.
Hi, Dr. Rodriguez.
Hi.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep him here while we read these last two contributions. All right. So Tammy in Texas, she says, every day I feel like parents should sit down with their kids and ask them how their day went and if there's anything they need to share. I want to instill in my child that she can always feel safe coming to me or her teachers, that it is okay to tell. I always want her to know she will be listened to and believed no matter what she tells me. I want her to feel comfortable and feel supported if she does have something she needs to say. I always tell her if something is bothering her or making her afraid or uncomfortable, she needs to come to me right away and I will take care of it. This hashtag, It's Okay to Tell, is exactly what children need to learn early on. Thank you for bringing this to light. I also think that it is the first thing she should do is come to me, to her teachers, if someone hurt her. So Tammy mentioned incorporate it in a routine. And we actually had another parent mention that she has a conversation before bedtime. And I know with dealing with young children, creating a routine is really important. What are your thoughts on this, Dr. Rodriguez?
Yes, creating that routine, I think that would be great, because then it'll open not only the communication lines, but it instills the confidence, right, into these children. And Tammy's not only identifying herself as someone who's going to protect her, she's also identifying someone in the school, a teacher.
Right.
Protect her also. Because, as teachers and school officials, we are mandated to report. So
okay.
Yes, in the state of New Jersey.
Now that you mentioned that, I do know, right, and in a lot of states, as a social worker or a teacher or a nurse, as someone who's dealing with children in the public, you are mandated to state. Yes. But I believe, did they change it recently to have, if you're just an adult, if you're over 18, that you're mandated to report as well? Correct. I know they was developing the bill, but I don't know if that they've actually implemented it.
I know it was in the talks. They have, some states have implemented it. I like the fact that working in a school, we're not there to investigate, we're there to report. So it's
Okay.
not our job to investigate. If a child comes to us, um, making whatever accusations they are making, it's not for us to investigate. It's for us to follow the proper protocol that the school and the district has in place to make sure that that child is protected.
Okay. And you mentioning the importance of having another ear is a great segue into our next contributor. At Octavia from New York. I teach my girls that if they're not comfortable talking to me, to tell their grandmother. I teach them that no matter what the problem is, and if someone touches them, to tell. I let them know about my story of sexual abuse as a child and let them know it's okay to tell, even if the person says they're going to kill me or their grandma, because that's what I was told as a young child being abused. Now, Octavia, she didn't only bring up your point about having another trusted heir or being, building confidence and security in your child to go to someone else, right? That kind of dispels the idea of secrets, of keeping secrets. But also, what do you think about, and I get this question all the time, how old do you think a child should be when the parent, or if the parent shares with them, if the parent was abused? Do you think that that's something that should be shared with, I'm going to say offspring, because honestly a lot of people don't even tell their adult children. So what do you think the impacts of that on a child would be to find out that their mother was abused, their mother or father was abused?
I think it should go on a case by case basis because it really depends on how you're raising your child. Everybody raises their children differently, and their maturity level and their level of understanding. Do they really get the idea that they've been put in a compromising position, that violence played a part in a lot of their decisions, or that they were traumatized at some point in their lives?
Right.
I think each family or each parent has to really take and assess what their child's abilities are to understand. Because if you tell a 6-year-old who has no understanding of it, or you tell a 15-year-old, and they have a lot of understanding and they get these details, and then they go back and want revenge, the 6-year-old will not understand and will be confused. The 15-year-old may want to get revenge. So that conversation, it needs to not be just one conversation. It needs to
Yeah.
be an ongoing conversation. And with that ongoing conversation, these are teachable moments that
Right.
we're teaching our children. So if you're teaching your children from age 3 and 4 and 5 not to let anyone touch you inappropriately, you can't use the word inappropriate. They're not going to understand that.
Right.
But you're going to use different words so they can understand. And once you do that, and if it's an ongoing process, then you will have to make that decision at what age you want to disclose your own trauma.
Right. I agree. I told my kids, it was different for each of them. It was different. My eldest, she was more aware of going on. She was very mature for her age. I told her at 13. And then of course, because we share the same father, then there was the absence of a father that they was always questioning. So, and then I think which really is going to start from the interaction between the parent and the child and the open communication. You learn about who your child is, right? As a spiritual being, you learn like who they are, what they can handle.
Yes.
And it's really something that really should be started and fostered from a very young age, from birth. You just have to pay attention as a parent. So before I leave the last one, I'm going to let Uriel go.
Thank you.
Because he's done. Tell everyone goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I'll let him go about his business. Because he was definitely like in the but yeah, so for my other children, they were later. And then, like I said, Uriel, he was born into me speaking out publicly.
Mhm.
So, of course, he was more prepared than I think the other children were, because he started hearing more about it from a very young age. Which brings us to our last contribution. This is kind of lengthy, so this will make it the last one. All right. And the last one is from Canfield from New Jersey. I'm a dad and a sexual abuse survivor who has tried so many times to communicate during childhood and as a teenager. I wasn't taken seriously, or my parents didn't know what to do with what I was telling them. Thank God for therapy, which helped me greatly. Once I had my daughter, from the moment she started to communicate at the age of 1, both my wife and I communicated with her about how she should never let anyone touch her private parts, always teaching her to clean herself the best she could. And we asked for her consent when we needed to help. And that goes for doctors too. When she turned 3 and started preschool, she told us a boy her age touched her booty, same words for private. She said she told the teacher, but the teacher didn't do anything. My wife and I applauded her for telling us and re-encouraged that it's okay to tell. I called the school and they acted as if it wasn't a big deal, which was uncomfortable. But protocols of the school system were activated, and a social worker was put in to observe the class for a week and make sure both my daughters and the little boy involved were okay. The system itself was a big reality check to see who they prefer not to deal with, not to deal with at all. And even though they never verbalized it, they acted as though my daughter was exaggerating. But it made me proud to know I was teaching my daughter to talk this out, to know if she was so open to say it at 3, that she will be vocal as she gets older too. Now, Dr. Rodriguez, of course, you work in school. So do you find like the policies? Well, no, let me rephrase that.
So while you're thinking about rephrasing that, I love the fact that both parents were on the same page and related the message to their child the same way.
Right.
That's like awesome.
Right. I agree.
Because now she knows that it's okay to tell.
Right. And because she has reinforcement from both parents.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. But so dealing with the school, I mean, I know that there clearly are policies in place. You mentioned before that as a professional, you were required to. But what kind of measures are taken when, I guess you can say, there is maybe a difference of opinions? Like, this is 2 small children, right? And I feel like a lot of times adults will say, well, maybe there was some kind of misunderstanding. But then if you do have that, dare I say, space of doubt, or maybe there isn't enough evidence, but the parents are persistent, how do you handle a situation like that?
So these are 2 small children. And I'm assuming this is like a daycare. So they don't operate under the auspices of a public school.
It's preschool, right? He said it was preschool.
If they're in a preschool private institution versus a public institution, that makes a big difference.
Okay.
I love the fact that the social worker did go into the classroom to kind of do observations, because it allows the person to kind of see. It's like a fishbowl. You're seeing from the outside in to see what's really going on in there. You have to follow the policies. And I think if this family really was not happy, they could have pulled her out and put her somewhere else.
Right. But
I'm glad that they were very persistent and that the school had no other alternative.
And I think that's where parental advocacy, right? A parent has to be confident enough to, if they really feel, they know their child first, right? They know their child the best. Definitely. If they really feel that their child is feeling uncomfortable in any way, then they need to stick at it. Like, do not allow places to intimidate you. I did have a situation, my daughter, which actually it's her birthday. It's her birthday today. She passed away in 2010, and we miss her dearly, but she was disabled. So she went to a special education school, and I think it was in Cranford or Westfield. And there was one day she decided she didn't want to go to school. Now, when I tell you this girl loves school, she loves school, she loves school. Like when she would come home, she'd be so encouraged and motivated to get ready for school the next day. So now for suddenly one day she says, "Mommy, I don't want to go to school." I was floored. I was like, wait, what? So
Yep.
then I had to try to contact the teacher to see what was going on. And she was like, no, mommy, I don't want to go to school. All the way to the point when she was dressed for the morning, I put her in her stroller, she started crying. So then I had to investigate, well, what was happening. I didn't send her to school that day. And I didn't send her to school until I found out what was going on. Now, we could not say that anything was going on specifically, because there was no evidence of it, but it did turn out that there was a new teacher's assistant. And then and the school was understanding enough to then remove the teacher's assistant out of her class. So, I was really appreciative of that, but I had to keep up with it because they was kind of like, well, there's nothing that we could say. And I think children with disabilities, she was completely disabled, or even it's even a more difficult time in determining if they have been abused. So I'm very sensitive to that. My heart goes out to, children who are differently abled, because they really can't defend themselves and may have a hard time communicating. And with you working with special needs children, how has that played out in your arena?
Each case is different.
Yeah, I know.
And we have to investigate.
Yeah.
Right? And we need to ask questions, and we need to find out what's making them uncomfortable.
Right. Okay. All right. So that's all that we have. Congratulations. And that's not all of the winners. That was only, I think, what I read, 5 or 6. But for time purposes, we're going to, just share those 4. I thought that these parents made very good points and put some very good practices in place. So if you're watching, to Denise, Ayodaji, Tanya, Tammy, Octavia, and Canfield, congratulations and thank you, and bless you and your families. Dr. Rodriguez, thank you very much. Before I go, real quick, I'm going to read before we go, I'm going to read some of the comments. Oh, what happened to my thing? Okay. Mizrael61 from on YouTube says greetings. Stephanie Holt says hello from Facebook. D Walker, hi D. D Walker is a very consistent and supportive Facebook entity and friend on Facebook who is always, keeping up with PLL. My daughter Arish is watching. She told Uriel to fix his hair. Moesha Campbell, hey beautiful mommy. Hey you, Moesha, beloved princess. Good afternoon. I don't know how I came across your story, and I'm amazed by your strength. Well, thank you, beloved. And A. Harrison, continue. Oh, that's April. Continued blessings. Thank you very much. So, Dr. Rodriguez, I want to thank you so much for coming in, sharing your expertise and perspectives on It's Okay to Tell Day, and all of the contributors and their thoughts. And I hope that everyone was able to, learn and gain some of your awesome knowledge and your beautiful smile.
Thank you.
All right, my dear. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, everyone. So that is all for today. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone who commented, who participated. This was great. I hope to do more of these in the future. And on PLL TV, we are developing this aspect. We had to broadcast on YouTube through my channel, Aziza Kabibi. So youtube.com/Aziza Kabibi, because we had to get some technical stuff in place with StreamYard for PLL's YouTube. So make sure you go to PLL's YouTube, Precious Little Ladies Inc. on YouTube, and subscribe so you can prepare for our other informative videos, clips, information, interviews, and we can continue to do this and build from it. Congratulations to everyone who will be receiving a tablet, and thank you to all of our participants. There was some continued, it was just kept flowing, and there was just some great ideas that we're hoping to just incorporate and build upon. And we'll also have other opportunities to just get more information and develop resources and techniques on how to help you. So the intention is to get the public and the community and families and parents and children involved in their own development, in their own what's the word? I'm lost for words, but yeah, in their own self-actualization, right? That's what self-actualization is. And that's what PLL is helping them do through our media and through our social media and all the information that we share and our collaboration. So that's it for today. Happy It's Okay to Tell Day. Remember, it is okay to tell. Find someone that you trust if you want to speak out. And even if you want to get started, you are welcome to contact PLL through info@preciouslittleladies.org. Also, you can text our phone number 877-TELL-PLL. That's 877-TELL-PLL. And we will do our best. A lot of times you just need to get something off of your chest. So we're here, Tell PLL. All right. On that note, thank you again. Be blessed, for you are a blessing. Remember, it's okay to tell, and you are not alone. Bye.